Now, growing up, we've always heard the phrase, you have to work twice as hard as them to get half as far. But has working too hard become a detriment to our people? We are working harder to achieve success in an environment that wasn't set up for us to achieve greatness in the first place. Well, we're talking about that and more tonight. And we're going to get into that because that's something that I think we can all probably relate to, right? Feeling like you have to constantly work twice as hard and not really get the same success as others.
Also work hard. What we gonna do? Let's work hard. Let's get that money.
Okay.
You know?
All right. First, we need you to connect with us by tweeting us at Fox Soul TV or call us at 866 Fox Soul. That's 866-369-7685 because we are live and we love to hear from you. Joining us to break down the issues is Chels Yvette Lee Harris and licensed family and marriage therapist Stevon Lewis. Come on down.
Come on in, Stevon.
Hey, y'all. Hello. Hi, how are you?
Hey, little mama.
Hello, how are you?
How you doing, brother?
Welcome.
How you doing, brother?
We holding hands. What we doing? All right, now let's get straight into it. Just jump right in, okay?
Keep it real.
Where did you have to work twice as hard to get half as far as them? Where'd that come from? That mentality.
I feel that it came from me personally, like my mother, and I feel like it came from her grandmother because I feel like growing up, starting from all our people originated from the South, it was always embedded like you got to work hard, no one's going to do it for you, and then they came from a time where it was a lot of racism, it was very prominent, so it was like you got to work hard because the white man ain't going to do it. You got to make sure you tend for yourself and don't do this for me. It was like don't wait for a man to do it. That's you got to work hard for yourself. So I think that was always penetrated in my brain to work hard because no one's going to do it for me and not to depend on a man.
It's so frustrating.
I know.
What you think, Stevon?
Wow.
Stevon, I'm sorry.
Kind of the same thing. I mean, I think it came from parents telling me that I needed to work harder than everybody else, that nothing's going to be given to you, there aren't any handouts. But also sports, too. I think that, coaches tell you got to outwork the next player. You got to outwork the man next to you. Or if you're kind of at home and not practicing, then the next person is, and so they'll be better. So it's always that kind of mentality that you're forced to be thinking about someone surpassing you.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Well, I think it's twofold. Like she said, it comes from our ancestry. We come from an ancestry where people tell us you have to work harder and beat the man and try to work up to a certain level so you can be on the same playing field as someone. Mm-hmm. But I also think that, it can lead to bad results, but it's not always the wrong mentality because sometimes you do have to step up and overachieve and try twice as hard because, not just because of the other person, but because your goals are important and your agenda is important and what you're trying to create and develop in this life is important. So it's twofold. We just have to watch out for the dangers of it.
Is this a burden that mostly black people carry, though? I feel like we get that talk, and I don't know if white kids get that. I feel like they get the talk like, you can work half as hard and you'll be all right because our uncle's the judge.
You feel like that. There's some elitism to it.
100%.
But the other nationalities that also deal with it. I think, Indians, Asian, you hear that.
They have a lot of pressure.
Sure. They feel that same pressure because you don't feel like you're the dominant force. Then you have to try to make it. And a lot of them, when you come from especially impoverished circumstances, where you're challenged and you're trying to make it, you're trying to become something, you're trying to break the cycle of what existed prior.
But Lee, don't you think immigrants, when they come over here, they are taught like you got to work hard in America?
I do think so.
What do you think, Stevon?
No, I agree. I think that they're encouraged to work harder or to achieve this dream, the American dream.
Right.
Then you've got to put in the work ethic. It's yours if you want it. It's yours to take, so to speak.
Absolutely. I like that. Like I think that's fair. Mm-hmm. But I think for black people, it's work twice as hard to get half as far. I have a problem with.
For sure.
That's what's frustrating to me. Like we got to do our work, your work, and then not even get the full pay that y'all getting, the full benefits. Mm-hmm. And I'm tired of that.
Right.
Are y'all tired of that? Right.
And then it's especially worse for black women.
Exactly.
That's just a whole nother.
We're getting like 61 cents on the dollar to a white man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Well, it's frustrating too, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's harder for women when it comes to you guys in the workplace. Don't you think so, Claudia?
1,000%. I remember doing a job where I was working with this guy, and his resume was nowhere near as much as mine, and he was getting $30,000 more than I was. I'm still mad about it. And I would see him not do any work, and I'm looking at him like, I resented him. It's not his fault. He's going to take the job, but I started to resent him because I'm thinking, even with another black man, I gotta it's like, when can we get I don't want privilege, I want equality.
It's like you start off behind already, right? Like you've already started the race not at the starting line.
Yep.
Right, so that you talk about being paid $30,000 less, So as he moves up, he's already got an advantage than you do. So you're trying to work harder to get to where he was 5, 10 years ago. So it's like I'm already involved in a system or in a race that I have no chance of winning because I've started not at the start line like everybody else. It's a stagger.
There was this great meme that went around. I don't know if you guys saw it online. It was like, well, it was like a kind of like a cartoon, right? It was an illustration. And it showed a black woman versus a white man on the track. And they had the same 100 meters to cover, right? And the white man had no obstacles, just smooth sailing, had his sneakers, had his race, ready to go. She had a weight on her legs, she had hurdles, she had someone holding her back and starting before the starting line. And that kind of really hit home because that's what it really, someone really captured it perfectly what it feels like.
100%. And then a lot of times, mostly you're doing the same exact job. You're doing the same exact job as the man, white or black, whoever is doing, and they decide to pay us less. And most of the time in the workplace, we're doing more, actually. The actual job, we're doing more than that.
I have to be honest with our teams. A lot of times I see women really working twice as hard, 3 times as hard, just to compete in a place they feel like they don't have equal footing. And I feel like, unfortunately, sometimes that divides us as men and females in the black community because we're sometimes competing for the same barrel, some same scraps, when we should be supporting each other and helping each other out.
It does cause a divide.
It does.
Competition.
And they start hating on each other.
And unfortunately, that becomes it.
What happened in that, my situation was we would talk about like old-fashioned values and like whether a man should pay it out. And I'm like, until we're paid equally, hell yeah, I'm for the Exactly. When we get paid even, then I'll break you off and take you shopping.
Exactly.
Trick off on you and all that.
Let's be honest though, there are a lot more women executives now also. So there's a lot more women in power, especially in entertainment art fields. A lot of women in power. Kudos to them.
And right now, the most educated group of people in America are black women.
Yeah.
Black women, y'all.
100%.
So why are we still getting paid 61% on the dollar?
Yeah, so why you think they devalue women so much, Steve?
Let's go deep.
Let's open this up.
Wow.
I don't know that I would say devalued, but I guess it kind of is, right? It's a place of where women and black women are not giving the same opportunity, the same starting point, or like the same kind of playing field.
Think it's a slave mentality?
I mean, it could kind of go back to that. I think that in society, I mean, if we're being honest, right, people of color have been relegated to places that aren't kind of at the same level of prestige as you know, kind of the mainstream culture, and that's just facts, right? Like the system is what it is.
So we
didn't design it. We are participants in it.
Right.
Shells, do you think, and maybe you feel me on this, I feel like the way they still do it like this, because if they gave us what we wanted, we wouldn't need them. As long as we get paid less, we still need y'all
100%.
raggedy asses.
100%.
Okay, I'm not saying.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm still bitter.
Okay, so one thing, I don't know if the modern woman exactly needs this. They've created a world where they are very empowered. So the modern woman is very empowered. But also, let's also talk about beyond slavery. The women have not always had equality, white or black. So there is a structure here in America that definitely keeps women, and it's not our system that we created. It's a system we kind of participate in, and we're trying to change and evolve. But that's an old system in America that's been way before our lives.
Now, Claudia, if you can agree that when we do speak up, we are labeled as the angry black woman.
Ooh,
but a man's labeled as assertive and a boss. Exactly.
We speak up as, she's just always complaining about everything. She should take this little money we give her. We're glad she gave us a shot and everything else. And it's like, why should I be happy that you gave me pennies when the person next to me, which happens to be my counterpart, we're doing the same job as a man, and he's getting paid so much more money? Then if I speak up, not only are we labeled as angry black women, but we can get fired. Like, our job is on the risk.
Yes, we do.
No, you bring up a great point, though, and I think you're a psychologist, so I'll go into that, too, because there is a thing where we cannot be emotional at the job. We're not allowed to express emotion as people of color. We have to be calm and cool, which is why Obama was a perfect example, but that's not everybody. And at times you are frustrated, you have to make a point, you're passionate. That can't be mistaken as anger or being upset or moody. And that happens a lot to women.
Do you think because a lot of times we're like more physically like larger, and we black folks, right? We're stronger, right? So everything we do is like almost threatening to the weaker folks, right? We put a little bit of bass in our voice. We're being aggressive and we scare people, right?
Yeah, you kind of do scare people.
And even if you scale it down, they still feel approached. So it's like, I don't know how to do it via email. Then it's like, I don't know if I seem loud. If I come up to you, then it's like, excuse me, like, can I help you? I don't really know how to go about it. That's something I'm still kind of channeling through. Like, it's sad that when I go into work, I have to make a decision to say, should I keep this or do I keep my integrity and speak up for myself? And that's the decision we shouldn't have to make when we go to work.
It shouldn't be so stressful for us in the workplace, right? Like, it feels like we have to constantly avoid landmines.
Right.
Well, it's the code switching, right? Like,
That's the word. That's it, right?
Like we have
100%.
to be a particular way at work or in kind of public spaces than we are in private. Like, we have to really change who we are because it's not, maybe so socially accepted, or we got to make sure that other people are comfortable. And so we have to do this dance, and I don't know that other kind of races or other individuals have to do it as much as we do.
Let me ask you guys a question. So how does this mentality, all you guys, fill us in the workplace? How does that fill us in the workplace?
I think it fails us because
Overworking
fails us because we are neglecting our self-care.
right.
Because I am working twice as hard, I'm not taking care of myself, I'm walking around in eggshells and fear that I might lose my place of employment.
right.
If I lose my place of employment, then how am I gonna eat? How am I gonna pay rent? How am I gonna pay for my car? But at the same time, how are you gonna do that if you're sick? If you're not using your PTO, if you're not taking
You're
the
right.
self-care, if you're not
You're
resting,
right.
if you're not exercising, if you're not eating right, like that fails us in the workplace. And even if we do get to the place that we want to do for working twice as hard, we are still below our other counterparts.
But isn't it all a part of working? Like what are we supposed to do? You
Well, I
know
want to
what I'm
piggyback on that before we get to the master right here with this because
Not the master,
it's important when she's saying that because we deal with heart disease, we deal with obesity,
Depression,
we deal with
which we
stress,
can't even talk
depression,
about.
and
That's
things you
taboo.
can't even claim because now we don't even medicate properly when it comes to therapy. So sometimes we use other ways to to deal with these issues, and they're not healthy. So yeah, you can overwork, you can achieve, but if you can't survive long enough to enjoy the benefits or the fruits of your labor, what benefit is that?
Do you think do you think we complain too much as far as black people? Because white people have the same stresses and heart disease and all that. What do you think about that, doctor?
I'm not.
We complain about everything.
You've elevated now.
Yeah, he made me something I'm not. But I guess I'm saying is the idea that why is it complaining when we say it, right? Right? Like if someone else is assertive, I mean, if you watch any of like the impeachment hearings or stuff like that, you've seen a lot of energy and a lot of emotion. Emotions are not a bad thing. I mean, we have them for a reason, right? Like we have a range of emotions, we should be able to show them.
Yes.
It's how it's interpreted by kind of, I guess, greater society that really impacts us. And for us, we have a different set of rules, and we're just being honest, that we have to live by, and so that we've got to think about how it's going to be perceived, when we, I guess, show emotion in a exercised way, so to speak.
So they want us to be more subtle, and don't you think that's kind of makes us accept injustice? If we have to bring it down, right? That's almost like accepting the bullshit.
Which is a disconnect, right? Because we know the system's not fair. We know that we shouldn't be paid $30,000 less if I'm doing the same job and I have the same qualifications on paper, right? But then if we speak up about it, like you said, we risk losing our job.
Absolutely.
And so it's hard to kind of reconcile within ourselves this idea that I know I'm not getting what I'm supposed to, but also I got to be okay with what I have.
Right.
But to Donnie's point, yes, we do complain. Black people be complaining about everything. We walk in the house, oh, why this lights on? Why this it's smelling here? Ooh, pull this out.
Yeah.
And we take that same type of energy low-key to work. Like you get to your jacks, who moving our stuff? Where
Exactly.
everybody at? This coffee tastes funny.
You think it's a part of our culture?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think we do it, we don't even realize that we're doing it. We're just we feel like we're talking. And where did that come from? You came in the house, your mom, your grandmother, your auntie or something.
Start in on you immediately. She was
we
at the
gonna keep it
door.
real in here. Let's stop getting to all this. Let's keep it real. Let's talk
As soon
about
as they
our
hit
people
the
so we
door,
can
pick
better
this
our
up.
people.
Yeah.
We do complain a lot, but I'm gonna say this. We could take that L before, but now I think a lot of things have changed in society in this country now that Donald Trump has been in office, right?
Yeah.
Look at how much stuff he complains about, bitches and complaints, and his
true.
people will forever say
That's
he's
true.
assertive, he's putting America first, he's
true.
doing this, that, and the third. Look at how unfair and how uneven that is. Michelle Obama wore a shirt that showed her arms, and she was like damn near naked out there. We've
Barack
seen
Obama with the tan suit.
We've seen Melania's entire vagina, and so I think we do have.
I missed that one. I was gonna say, missed that one,
You
but
can
okay.
Google it.
I'll trust you. I'll trust
But
you.
I'm saying, I feel like they almost want to make us feel like we're crazy sometimes. I feel like they almost want to make us feel like we're crazy sometimes. But now this man came along, and he's doing it like 10 times worse. So I feel like we have every right to complain. Until things are fair, why should we not complain?
Well, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it, Claudia?
Well, we can't just march.
No, we can't.
We have to start fighting amongst ourselves. That's number one, because we ain't getting nowhere until we do that.
Yeah.
So when we solidify ourselves as one, it needs to be like not us against them, but we got to get ourselves together.
Which is empowerment. You know, we got to own ours and have control of ours.
But you know what I hate, Lee? I hate when we always say, "Oh, we gotta stick together. We gotta do that," and we the same ones bite back.
That's true.
Each other.
That's not real.
We come on, man. You know we be doing that because she just said she was hating. She was mad somebody was making $30,000.
But I was rightfully hating.
Let's talk about that too, because sometimes we're in a position of competing, and then we don't partner with that person. So we feel like one of us is going to make it through that door.
Right.
And it's a scarcity mentality.
Yes.
And that scarcity mentality will destroy us because we're thinking, oh, if it's two of y'all, me and him, only one of us going to get that job. So now I can't be cool with you. I can't be friendly with you. And I might even throw some salt on your game. So then it creates a bad energy between each other, which is not even necessary.
And you know what else, Lee? When we get in, we don't pull each other up.
You're right.
You know we don't pull each other up, do we, Claudia?
It's rare. That's why the few people that have done that for me, like they'll always forever have they'll always get love for me in my life.
Right.
Because I understand that we have this thing, like we hoard things, like I don't know, another opportunity's gonna come along, so I can't share. But